And I see my man in the background. We are joined with the legend, Ted Rall. Ted Rall's political cartoonist, syndicated columnist. You can find him with the great, the one and only Manila Chan on TMI, Too Much Information, at 10 a.m. How you doing, Ted? You doing okay today?
I'm good. Monday morning, up and at 'em.
Yeah, man. Monday mornings are rough. Monday
Yeah,
mornings are
can
rough.
be,
I
can
agree.
be.
I watched, and I guess there are two things. One, the No Kings protests, and two, the Mandani debate against Cuomo and the other gentleman. I've never seen a man eat another man live like this. And I mean, all of Cuomo's weaknesses were just put on display for that debate. In fact, let's go there first. That one is funny to me. This is one of the attack lines that came up. There were a few that were just brutal, and Cuomo just sit there and took it. But this is
governor who sent seniors to their death in nursing homes. That's the kind of experience that's on offer here today. If I don't have an experience, I make up for an integrity. What you don't have an integrity, you could never make up for an experience.
Damn. Damn. That is rough. That is rough.
It's rough. It is definitely a prepackaged line.
It is.
Like he thought of this one, but you know what? He's very quick on his feet. And I always appreciate that in a politician. It happened to land well. Maybe because it was delivered really quick. A lot of prepackaged lines are kind of like, how there's certain film directors who like linger on their scene. Look at my beautiful scene. Let me make you look at my beautiful scene instead of trusting the audience to be like, wow, that's a cool scene. Did I just see that? And a lot of politicians like Kamala Harris, when she said, I was that girl, she was like, I was that girl on the bus. Instead of just sort of like, I was that girl on the bus. That would have been, just like letting it roll off. It's all about the delivery. Mamdani, obviously, he grew up with a brilliant film director mother. He obviously understands like delivery of language, and he definitely no question, he outperformed Andrew Cuomo. Yeah. I don't understand how you can be in your late 60s, having lived and breathed politics your entire life the way Andrew Cuomo has, to have been governor of an important state like New York. Obviously he's an intelligent man. His father was a brilliant politician. His brother's a moron, but that's different. It's like, how is he so bad at this? I mean, this should be something that so I sometimes in the past, I've forgotten about an interview that I had with someone in a very different time zone. 5 o'clock in the morning, the phone rings. Oh fuck, who's calling me at 5 in the morning? It's like, oh shit, it's that interview in Australia. And so they're like, hi Ted, you ready to be on in 60 seconds? And you're like, yeah. And then it's like immediately, no coffee, out of bed, I can talk about like, say, the Mamdani debate. How come he can't do that? How come? Yeah. And he's not the only one. I don't want to just pick on him. But like, why can't like really experienced politicians, why are they not better at this?
But how do you be, if you're a Cuomo and you have, you've gotten all those grandmas killed, you're sending all those people to their nursing home to their deaths. I'm just mean literally he did.
Right? Yeah, literally he did. It's true.
In the most literal sense. This is not me being hyperbolic. This is what Cuomo literally did. He sent them to effectively a death center. On top of that, write a book about how awesome and brilliant you are. Right. You lie about the number of people that you killed in New York over the course of COVID.
You're grabbing ass like nobody.
And you're grabbing ass left and right. Mm-hmm. How do you be good at a debate when you are like just a target, like a massive target that somebody just needs to throw a dart at? How do you be good at that? I don't know how you be good at that. He shouldn't have been in this debate at all, frankly.
I guess the deal is that the only reason he was, obviously he's a Nepo baby. That's the only reason he ever had this job, right? It's his last name. That's it, just like his brother. Don't tell me that CNN can't do better than Chris. Don't tell me.
But there was a time where he wasn't known for grabbing ass, right?
Right.
Meaning there was a time where he didn't send those grandmas to their deaths, or where he wasn't grandstanding or COVID. Meaning there was a time where he didn't have these weaknesses.
That's true. Yeah.
He got him here.
Yeah, although maybe he always did. I think there is an effect of wallowing in privilege, and I don't mean like necessarily, obviously he has white privilege, but political privilege in this case. And he's got power and some money, and I think when you live your entire life that way and you grew up that way, I mean it's kind of crazy, right? I mean, he literally can drive across a bridge that's named after his father.
I know.
It's like when you have that level, I think it just, it's hard not to become arrogant,
Yeah.
and obviously he did.
But Jesus, who wants to put themselves through that perdition? Like, even here's another one where he goes after Cuomo for Netanyahu, of all things. This is Mandani again,
Up to be
putting a
the
knife in Cuomo.
I want to be very clear. The occupation is a reference to international law and the violation of it, which Mr. Cuomo has no regard for since he signed up to the Benjamin Netanyahu legal defense team during the course of this genocide.
So a few things there, right? A, calling a genocide, good for you for that. Calling it occupation, again, good on you for that. And then pointing out this guy's backing this genocide. Now, I saw a picture of, looks like 10,000 Jews, like Orthodox Jews with their hats and spirally hair and everything else in New York protesting what was happening in Israel.
Yep.
Is it true that Mandani is safe in this argument? Like, meaning he is in a location that will effectively back him in this particular argument. Even Jews that are in New York will back him in this argument.
Well, the polls say yeah. He's got first of all, the vast majority of American Jews writ large are now more sympathetic to Palestine than Israel. That's a gobsmacking statistic. That number is only going to increase in the pro-Palestine direction as time goes on. And especially, once U.S. and other Western reporters go into Gaza and all the mass graves start to pop up and all the atrocities that Israel committed become better known, and it's going to, Israel's reputation, such as it is just gonna, go sub-zero. Here in New York City, the polls show that what's his name, Eric Adams, dropping out of the race. The fact that I had to say what's his name, the city mayor dropped out of the race in a Democratic city, a Democratic mayor. It really didn't affect Mamdani's polling significantly. I think he lost a point to Cuomo. Okay. That's big deal. He's ahead by 12 to 14 points. He has that point to spare. He'll probably get it back. I'm hearing, little birds inside the Mamdani campaign tell me that internal polling has them basically turning cartwheels. They would really like to hit 50%, even though this is now a three-way race, because they think it'll avoid the right-wing talking point that he was unable to achieve a majority instead of a plurality. Now they believe they are at 50%. So the latest polls these are internal polls, and they could be wrong, but they've, so far those polls have been reflective of the external polls. So the odds are within the next week or so, we're going to see those results hit. And, it's also one of those phenomena, Mamdani's one of those phenomena where people need to feel safe voting for him, right? So the more people who vote for him, there's a snowball effect. and that's clearly it. It's people hear from their friends like, oh, like my friend Ted's voting for, my friend Jamal's voting for him. Oh, they seem like they have a good head on their shoulders. Like, oh, maybe it's okay. I mean, and, frankly, he is a different looking candidate. I mean, not only is he Muslim, he's South Asian, but he's very young, very young. We haven't had anyone nearly this young in my memory, right? I mean, Lindsey Graham was the mayor of New York City when I was a little kid. I didn't live here.
Really?
I mean, not Lindsey Graham, Mayor John Lindsay. Thank God we didn't have Lindsey Graham.
He's South Carolina. Right.
Yeah, Ed Koch was a fairly, not ancient, but certainly he wasn't 33 years old or 31 years old. And so it's just like there's just a, it feels a little weird to be voting for this guy, and we kind of need to know that it's going to be okay. look, I don't think Mamdani would have won, would have stood a chance really at all if the opposition to him hadn't been just so lame. You know, pushing the establishment, pushing Adams and Cuomo up against him. You know, I don't know what they were thinking. It's like, have you met any actual New Yorkers? Do you know where a subway station is? Could you go down into one? It's only $2.90, very cheap. You could go in and talk to some New Yorkers. Everyone would have told you you're out of your mind. Cuomo would have been an excellent, you know, candidate for governor, for mayor of New York City in 2021 or 2022. But that's not when the election's being held. And so, you know, it's kind of like when John McCain ran for president in 1984 and in 2004. And, you know, people said, oh, you know, he's past his expiration date. That's what we have here. So Cuomo is just past due.
Past his expiration date. Here's one more, and this is the last one, and I'm moving over the Kings after this one.
Excellent.
This is Mamdani hitting him over sexual harassment things. And I love this. I love this one. Come on.
Andrew Cuomo thinks it's all right to spend $60 million to fund his legal defense in accusations of more than a dozen women of sexual harassment. If I say we should spend the same amount of money on delivering cheaper groceries in this city or a pilot program, that is unfathomable. Andrew,
like, that's what I mean, man. These the idea that taxpayer money is going to pay off Cuomo's grabbing ass legal fund.
Ridiculous.
And, yeah, that's absurd, right? And he's kind of put out, he's like, look, I'm trying to spend this money on ensuring people can eat. He's trying to spend this money on defending himself from him grabbing ass and his inability to stop from grabbing women's ass. Yeah, that makes him, it's a stinging point. It's a stinging point.
It is.
Give me your take.
You know, I mean, it's almost like nobody, you know, it's political malpractice. I mean, imagine, let's say you and I were hired to be consultants for the Cuomo campaign. What would we do? You and I would put on a big pot of coffee. We sit in a conference room with a whiteboard, and we try to anticipate all the biggest attacks that would come against our candidate, right?
Right.
What's the first one you're going to put up there? Ass grabber, right? And then, like, what?
Killing grandmas.
Using public funds to defend ass grabbing as a subset of that, right? Well, so how are you going to defend that? Okay, well, one of the things you do is you can't claim, you can't allow your candidate to complain about excessive spending on anything else because you're already wasting taxpayer money. So you immediately tell the governor, the former governor, sorry, you know, sir, you're just going to have to drop that grocery store issue.
How? How do you tell them that? You're fighting a socialist, right? And what is the attack line always against socialists? You just want to spend government money.
Right.
How do you keep Cuomo from making that case that is a normal standard attack line against socialists?
Well, you just tell them you're going to lose. You're going to have your ass handed to you. I mean, look, if I was managing Cuomo's campaign, I would have told him, listen, you know, you can't play against Mamdani. You're not going to beat him on his own territory. What you've got to claim is that this race is about experience. It's a very, very hard job, and that you know the ins and the outs, and that the relationship with Albany is absolutely crucial to the mayor of the city of New York. And no one can argue that you don't know Albany inside and out. And basically, New York City needs a firm hand. It needs an adult at the helm. And I'm an adult. And also, it's a rough and tumble town, and I'm a rough and tumble guy. And Mamdani is a cute little bunny rabbit, but he's not going to be able to deal with, like, the sharks, you know, in Albany, and for that matter, in City Hall. You know, I think that's a more credible argument, don't you, Jamal?
Yeah, no, I get your point. It's just the typical attack line against socialists is he's going to tax and spend. He's going to spend so much money. Oh, he wants to spend money on these.
By the way, New Yorkers don't care about that. New Yorkers are not fiscal conservatives. We're not conservatives of any kind. Only 11% of New York City residents are registered Republicans, and they're not MAGA Republicans. I mean, some are, but not most of them. I mean, they're sort of old-fashioned Jerry Ford Republicans. So, I mean, the term Rockefeller Republican comes from Nelson Rockefeller, former governor of New York, who was a liberal Republican, right? Pro-choice, so pro-gay, etc. That's how. I mean, there's just kind of aren't. New York City. I'm going to put a point on it, right? New York City is a place that if you go to a public space, a party, a diner, a bar, you can safely talk shit about Republicans and Trump and assume that everyone else agrees with you. And if they don't, they're the weirdos and the exception. It's the opposite of walking into a shit kicker bar in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and like you can talk shit about any Democrat or Joe Biden or Kamala or Adam Schiff, anyone you want, and assume that everyone agrees with you. And if there's the weird liberal in the corner, he knows to be quiet, right? It's like that. So, I mean, look, this election, it's been over for months. I mean, we talked about this, I mean, it's like, it was over really immediately. It was over the week before the primary. And when I saw the numbers coming together, and it's so funny. The New York Times made Mamdani the nominee. I can't tell you how many New Yorkers I've talked to. They all say the same thing. I wasn't going to vote for that guy. He was too young. But then when I saw how he was driving the elites, at the New York Times editorial page, insane. And then I got the mailers from Michael Bloomberg that were racist and they were terrified of him. I was like, wow, he's got my vote now.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, he ate Cuomo alive in that debate. He ate him alive.
Yeah, he did.
I want to go to the No Kings protests. I got to be honest. I didn't notice this until I think it was this morning when I saw some of the pictures and the images that were coming out on this. We have. I don't know if this is going to be a new trend in American protests, dressing up like frogs and dinosaurs and aliens. Here's another one: a chicken, Statue of Liberty, hot dog. I don't know what this woman is on the right. A dead chicken. Here's another one: a dinosaur costume. Roman gladiator, shark. I think that's one of my favorites: the alien and the shark. Don't take their bait. And all of this is coming out of Portland, right? Where you have all of these frogs and whatnot. And one guy was complaining that the frog costume was taken. He was like, "Those bastards! They increased the price. You couldn't get the frog costume." Give me a take on this before I say anything. Just give me your.
Well, look at you. You're wearing a suit and a hat. Look at me. I'm wearing a stained navy blue T-shirt, right? What is it? We obviously don't care for clown get-ups, okay? I mean, obviously. I mean, I look, whenever I see the pictures of the protests from the civil rights era, where, it's finely dressed young men and women, women in their Sunday best wearing sundresses or, men in skinny ties, narrow lapels, marching with the signs that say, I am a man. I'm like, now that's what protesting looks like. I mean, this is about humanizing yourself and making yourself relatable to other people who are watching on TV and thinking oh, I like that. Those people look like my kind of people. They look reasonable. Look, the animal costumes are funny. And I guess if you think that a political demonstration is a place that you get together with your friends to have a good time and validate each other, then No Kings was a raging success. If you think that a political demonstration is a protest that issues a demand or a set of demands for actual political change, then it was a complete failure. And, I think where I stand from what I just said. There were no demands whatsoever. Literally, the demand for No Kings was show up and have a good time. Come every 2 to 3 months, show up and have a good time. As I said, and I felt, sometimes you have a thought and you're like, oh, that's you feel good about yourself. You're like, I feel pretty clever. I thought about this the other day. Donald Trump and the Republicans, they're all day, every day. The anti-Trump resistance is every 2 to 3 months on a Saturday. what do you think? Gee, I wonder why Trump is winning, right? I mean,
Yep.
Honestly, like it's like, oh, we're fighting fascists. You're not fighting anyone, and no one's fighting the fascists, right? The Democrats aren't doing it, and after all, and I'm tired of having people defend this and say, oh, this was not a Democratic Party-oriented, organized activity. Yes, it was.
Yes,
Every single group is an affiliate of the that was involved in this was a Democratic front organization, including the labor unions that participated and groups like the ACLU. These are not, the ACL. This is not yesterday, your grandmother's ACLU, where they defended the Nazis in Skokie. They're Democrats, and like, there's nothing wrong with being like, hey, we be Democrats. Let's go march around and be Democrats and say everyone should vote Democratic. But it's not a meaningful, it's not a meaningful event. It doesn't. There's, like the White House press secretary said, so she's right.
Yeah, she said we don't care.
I mean, look, it ain't working. This is what they've been doing since 2017, except then they stopped from 2021 to 2025, even though Biden pursued many of the same policies as Trump did in his first term. I mean, even stuff that like you don't even think about, like, Trump got rid of home deductions on property tax in the blue states, not the red states. Biden didn't restore that when he came in. I mean, so the point is, even on the little things, and obviously, Biden and Trump both had the same, pro-Israel, pro-genocide policies. They're the same. They're the same. And it's like, so, it's kind of like, who the fuck are you people? So I thought it was I have total contempt for this, because when I see 7 million people marching, all I can think of is, what a fucking waste, right? It's sort of like when I see a Marvel movie. When I see a Marvel movie with a $500 million budget, I think to myself, or with $50 million budget, whatever, I'm like, think of all the great independent movies that Werner Herzog could have made with that money, right? Like 1,000 movies. When I see 7 million Americans marching through the streets, I'm like, imagine if those same 7 million people had taken their energy, their time, and their money and like gotten together in their communities and started building an actual, real anti-fascist opposition, grassroots from the ground up, outside of the two major parties. We'd be on our way. I mean, we'd be in business sooner rather than later. And imagine, like, let's amp it up. Let's say they met every week, once a week. Like, just watch one fewer TV show, one fewer sporting event, once a week. Well, I mean, now you have a revolution. You can overthrow the government. I mean, but like, so I just see it as like a total waste of time. It's a distraction. It's sheepdogging. It's what they accuse Bernie Sanders of, bringing in, the left, the real left, into the Democratic Party. This is sheepdogging, and it's really effective at promoting the two-party system and the Democratic Party. But it's not going to it's not going to save your neighbor from being deported by ICE, or your U.S. citizen neighbor from being beaten up by ICE because they had spent a little too much time at the tanning salon. I mean, it's just it's not going to do anything. I don't know. What did you think?
I opened my show sounding very much like you. I said this seemed to be. I'm not going to denigrate 7 million people coming together, but
no, they're motivated by. They have good hearts.
Yeah,
what's lacking is up here.
It's like there's no demand. I mean, I think my biggest thing was like, what are you demanding? That Trump doesn't become a king? It's like, okay,
we don't have monarchy.
Nice.
Monarchy's not a threat. Okay, like the threat is authoritarianism, and it's like the threat is ICE and militarization of domestic of American cities. The threat is regime change against Venezuela and Colombia. Those are threats. I mean, think about like when we were just a little younger, right? Like we all knew when people marched in 2003, what was the demand? Don't invade Iraq. Hands off Iraq. Easy to understand, right? Where's the demand here? Donald Trump is the legitimate president of the United States. He was elected fair and square. No one sane disputes that. So it's like, oh, well, he wants to be a king. I mean, to me, this just feeds into that, a lot of right-wing narratives, and I mean, obviously they have their stupid talking points, like these days all over X, just the last day or two. Look at how old and white all of these crowds were. And they show pictures from, communities that are all, very old and white. And I'm like, well, yeah, if you, in those communities, that's what you're going to get. Trust me, there were lots of people, lots of black people and lots of young people at No Kings in New York. I guarantee you that. I saw them. I didn't go, but I saw them on the subway and stuff.
Yeah.
And like the point is that like that's not the it's also coming from the Republicans, a ridiculous talking point. Have you ever seen an RNC? Like you've never seen older or whiter people in your life, or for that matter, like a joint session of Congress. Look at the Republican side, like hello.
Yes.
So
yes.
I mean, it's like hello. It's so dumb.
Yeah, I understood why they were wearing the costumes. I mean, they were trying to say, well, two things. One, hey, we're nonviolent. I'm in a frog costume.
Yeah, we're not dangerous. We're not the radical left. We're not. Antifa.
Yeah, and
by the way, I have a serious problem with this.
Well, so do I, by the way. And one last point. I also think they were trying to show how absurd. Meaning, if I am breakdancing in a chicken costume, you standing there as a cop, both of us look ridiculous. Not just me in a chicken costume breakdancing, right? You're trying to make the opposition look absurd, and you're trying to say we're nonviolent.
But it's not working. It just makes you look like a fucking clown. And here's another thing. I mean, I have a serious problem with this. Like the left. I mean, liberals should not be dissing Antifa.
Agreed.
Antifa are the radical shock, and the Black Bloc are the radical shock troops of liberalism and the left. They are the left flank of the left. And you got to have that if you want to have any forward motion. That's where the energy and the peak come from, right? Like on the far right, on the Republican right, they don't diss. Their like Unite the Right, Charlottesville, far right, neo-Nazi, Proud Boy people at all. They embrace them. They bring them into the fold. They give them pardons. They elevate them. They mainstream them because they know that the far right is giving them a lot of their ideas that they can sort of maybe moderate a little bit for mainstream consumption, and they validate the Republican Party. This is a huge thing that again, it's because it's a Democrat thing, and liberals at those marches should be fucking thanking God that Antifa is there, and they should be asking them to come more often.
No, Ted, that's the rub. Democrats do not want a quote-unquote mob. What they want are the sheepdog people into the party. There's a difference.
Yeah,
meaning from the Democratic perspective, they're like, so Kamala Harris will come out, you make Cory Booker coming out saying, hey, you guys are doing great. But what they don't want
Hillary
are demands.
Clinton.
Yeah, and Hillary Clinton, again. But what they don't want are demands, meaning they don't want 7 million people coming out saying, we demand X and Y. They don't want that. They want 7 million people coming out that has this kind of whiff of Democrat associated with it, where these people will get into the Democratic Party, even if those people say, well, I'm not left or right. And then they're using a statement by Cory Booker. And it's like, what the hell? Are you serious right now? Like, are you being serious? When you get that many Democratic politicians come out saying, hey, No Kings, you guys are doing great, that should tell you something about No Kings. I think that's the difference. I don't think Republicans are afraid or scared of, let's say, the people on the hard right making demand. Those are the same people that raided the Capitol out there fighting cops and putting cops in the ER. Like, let's put this in context, right? Trump got those people and gave them pardons. Well, Democrats are effectively allowing this castigation of Antifa, which is effectively a political witch hunt for a group that doesn't exist. Right. And they're acting as if, well, this is going to be isolated to a certain group. No, idiot, this is isolated to all of you also, because Antifa doesn't exist. Like the very act at the moment that these protests actually gain some level of steam, or if they indeed were going to gain some level of steam, or if they got on some level dangerous to the system itself, Antifa would be all of those people.
Well, and that's kind of like, but this is like a Martin Niemöller situation, right? I mean, first they came for Antifa, blah, blah, blah.
Yes. I guess my thing is Democrats don't want anything that would challenge Democrats, or that would, let's say, place demands on Democrats.
And they're playing the Republicans. They're playing the Republicans' game. I mean, ultimately they'll end up in the camps just the same, but they'll ride business class.
I would say Infinity Wars was worth every penny spent. I would say that. The scene of Captain America getting Thor's hammer, or Captain America saying "Avengers Assemble," or Iron Man at the very end, "I am Iron Man." Oh, that was super epic. It's so epic. That the money is well spent on those. The other movies, the other Marvel movies suck. Many of those suck. But that and the lead, oh, that was.
I know. Yeah, we're going to disagree about that.
So you weren't a Marvel guy. You weren't a fan of the Marvel.
No, I mean, the thing is, I have nothing against the idea, the concept. I mean, I grew up with all that stuff, and I'm a cartoonist. But I mean, the execution of so many of these movies is so leaden. It drives me crazy.
I agree with the woke stuff. Like they've oversaturated their product. Agreed.
Right,
and
but
I think it fell off
even
the
just like even just everything about it, the direction, the cinematography, the way they talk, it's
a comic book.
It's annoying to me.
It's a comic book. Oh, Ted, you've been a hard ass. You're like the old man of the bank saying, "You stupid kids, get off my yard."
Interior during the week.
Ted, you're a great man. I really appreciate this, and I agree with your take on the Kings thing. I
just wrote my column this week. I don't know if, and I'm going to syndicate it in a day or two. About No Kings and like why it's a total waste of time and things like this they do not work and cannot work and will not work, and there's just a distraction from what we need to be doing.
Yeah, when you get the Trump administration saying we don't care, that kind of tells you.
And they're not fronting; they don't care, and they shouldn't care. Again, I'd be the first to tell the president, "Yeah, you got nothing to worry about there."
Oh, one last thing before I let you go. Government shutdown. How long are you guys going to keep the government shutdown? I'll be coming back to America at some point. I'll need air traffic controllers.
Us guys. Well, Democrats are winning the shutdown.
You think so?
Oh, and let me just tell you, the Democrats are studying the calendar, right? November 1st is a key day. So right. in 11 days or so, you're going to have first people outside of Medicare Medicaid who are going to start getting their renewal notices for next year under Obamacare. Tens of millions of people. The rate that they're going to see their new premiums, and they're going to be ridiculous. I mean, they're already ridiculously high for middle class people, but it's going to be insane. And for middle class and lower middle class and working class people, it's going to be like, you're going to go from, it was basically nothing to $700 a month, or it's going to go from $550 to $2,000 a month. So people are just not going to be able to afford healthcare anymore. That's going to start. Those letters are going to start coming in on November 1st. Democrats they got to sit tight. They're winning now that the polls are on their side, and it's only going to get better for them. And Speaker Johnson can keep talking about like this is not a healthcare fight. It's a healthcare fight, and and Democrats are in a position they can't let this go. If they do, the Affordable Care Act is dead next year. It's finished effectively. It's still on the books, but effectively nobody's going to be covered by it. It's just not going to. It's a dead letter. So at that point, so I think Democrats are going to keep this going. I think Republicans are going to blink, and I think they're going to blink probably within 2 weeks.
But Trump and the Republicans don't seem to care. I mean, Trump is not even in the States, and
but the members of the House care. And
Johnson is not even in session.
They've been out of session for a month.
Yes,
and I think they're starting to sweat, and they're going to start worrying about the midterms. This really will be. I mean, it'll be hard. Democrats really are great at pulling defeat from the jaws of victory. Don't get me wrong, but it's going to be hard for them to fuck this up, because even if they don't run a single decent ad, people, it's very personal to not have health care anymore and to know why. People are going to go to the polls next year, and they're going to, even though the Republicans have completely fixed the game with redistricting, it may not matter. Basically, Democrats need a 5-point advantage nationally to retake the House. They're going to get it, if unless the Republicans blink. If the Republicans don't blink, they're really stupid. I think they will blink.
Wow. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
What the
Ted,
Republicans are going to do is they're going to renew the subsidies for 1 year. That's what they're going to do.
oh, just punt it basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ted Rall, political cartoonist, syndicated columnist. Ted, you are awesome. You can catch Ted at at 10 a.m. on TMI. Too much information.
9 a.m. first.
Oh, it's 9 a.m. now.
9 a.m. Eastern time. We've got Deprogram with me and John Kiriakou, although John's out today, but he'll be back tomorrow.
Okay.
And then 10 a.m. with Manila Chand on TMI show.
Whew, that's a hell of a schedule, Ted.
Yeah, we're gonna. You and I should talk. We have to sort of put it so that we can.
Ted Rall,
straight from you to me, and then beyond,
and then back to you again at the 10 o'clock.
Yeah, something like that. We'll figure it out.
Ted, thank you for this, man. And by the way, John Kiriakou is fantastic. So he's a great.
If he survives, he was out in Baja California getting attacked by tarantulas.
What?
Yeah, he's filming out in Baja California in Mexico for Jesse Ventura's movie. And
are you serious?
He was in an unair-conditioned, squalid resort, like where tarantulas are swarming inside. There were rattlesnakes, not inside apparently, but like swarms of mosquitoes eating him alive. It was very entertaining. I hope he's hasn't been exsanguinated by the time he returns.
He's a CIA agent. He knows how to deal with that shit.
I know.
He knows how to handle it. There's a CIA guy to deal with that stuff.
One thing.
Ted, thank you for this, man. You be safe, okay?
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Ted Rall, fantastic guest. Always appreciate Ted